Hello everyone, I am on the part 2 section of this, and this is, I'm starting the part 2 section of the ArtDot butterfly kit that ArtDot sent me. They were so nice to send me that, for me to see how their diamond painting products are, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to get started on this second. I've got to get this done, young'uns. And it's a big one. See, I've got a whole nother one. That'll be in another video. But here we are. Oh, sticky. Stick with me, young'uns, and we'll get this to the next part 3 right here. Yes. I look rough. I'm lounging again today, but I've done some gardening and, you know, done some of my chores and things. So, and I'm going to be going to the booth tomorrow, but I got an email from ArtDot, and they've liked the first 2 videos. And they said that, you know, I had, well, you and me watching, you watching and me doing, the AB diamonds have a coating on there that has that iridescence, and that's what was causing the issue with the pulling out of the glue, the wax, and the blue tack that I use, the putty, blue tack putty that I'll use in here. No, I'm not using, this is the one that come with it, and it has the little placer things. I mean, well, I took the tip out and put it in here because I thought, well, maybe it was because my tip was used up pretty good. So I went ahead and tried that, and see, I haven't ever had this issue happen before. So, you know, I've been lucky, and I didn't know what was going on. Why was it pulling all that out? I didn't know that, and apparently this happens with almost all AB drills across the board. It's nothing to do with ArtDot. These companies may not realize that coating or whatever it is on there to give it the AB appearance, that aurora borealis appearance, is causing it to pull out fresh wax, the blue tack or whatever you're using in here to pick your diamonds up. I noticed it doesn't do it as bad, like someone else had commented on another video or something. Somebody had commented that when I was researching about it, a video come up, and the lady was talking about it, and that commenter said that if you use it at the point where it's hardly picking up regular diamonds anymore, you've kind of got that dirty in there, or put it on your clothes or touch it a lot to keep it from being real sticky. So that way the sticky on here will be stronger than what is in here. And that way it won't pull that out as bad. So there's another trick you can do. Some people use the dental wax that you can get at Walmart and all. And I'm so sorry I look so rough, y'all. But I've had a really busy week. I've had my grandbabies. I've had a lot of videos to film of unboxings from companies that have sent their products for me to unbox and to try out. I have a lot of those coming in, and they're all coming in at once. And so I'm trying, and then I have this I've got to get done from start to finish, which I promised the company I could do. And now I found out they want it done at least before the end of this month, August. 2023. So I got to get down to it. So I went ahead and filmed the other diamond painting companies' products, all but one, and I'll be uploading them in between these next two. And I'm hoping that I can just fly through this next part and not have the issues that slowed me down before, the technical issues with my computer, my memory card on here, and it taking forever to download. So now I've got backup memory cards that whenever this one goes to be downloaded onto my computer, I can put a new one in and just keep going. And then whenever I need to take that one and download them, I get that first one back. You know, it's a lot of rotating and doing, I mean, it's not just doing the diamond painting. I have to do the technical side too. So, and my old computer is just that old, and I was trying to keep from using my husband's gaming computer because I wanted his to stay fast, and that way he can play on it when he wants to and not worry about it. So anyways, that's sort of what's, in a nutshell, is what's been going on. And I've done a new little aquarium nano tank here. And I've had garden and a pond out in the front, little patio pond that I've done that has the Joaquin Japanese goldfish in there. So, yeah, I've been busy having to pick up kids from school, taking them to school in the mornings. And so next week, Lord willing, I'll be able to just pound this diamond painting hard to where I can get it done, edited. And it takes a long time to edit these because I have to edit, you know, the good stuff from the bad stuff, you know, bloopers and things like that. And I missed a few in that last one. You might have heard that diabetes alarm that I had that showed that my sugar had went down. So I'm doing really good with my sugar, getting that down. I have a surgery coming up, and I want to make sure that my A1C is at a good level to where I'll heal properly. So I've got that coming up too, and I've got pulled away from editing right at that point and forgot that I needed to edit that part, and it got left in there. I'm so sorry if it made you jump out of your chair. Gotta wake you up, you know. But yeah, it does take a little bit of time to get these on YouTube, edited, exported. You're talking about hours of work just for that. So, and then it takes almost an hour or two to upload 8 segments at a time of 25 to 30 minute sessions here. So when that fills up 8 or 9 of them, I have to take them. It won't record anymore. I have to take them and upload them into the computer. And what my problem was my computer's, my old one ran out of memory, you know. So anyways, I'm digressing just to talking and you know, you're probably tired of looking at me. Oh my gosh, you know. I was going to be going to the booth today. On Fridays, I usually go on Fridays, but I'm probably going to put it off till tomorrow. And I'm going to be rearranging that and putting some sale prices on things. I may take and put bundles together, and if somebody wants something, I can put it on my Facebook page, Mim's House, or the Sundancer Art Gallery Facebook page, and people can comment under it if they are willing to, if they want what I have for sale, because I have some things I need to move out of the booth and just get gone because it's getting crammed up in there. So anyways, down here to the diamond painting we go. Okay everyone, I'm ready to start, and I wanted to go over with you what I started out doing at the very beginning was going down the, let's see here if I can get to it, the order. I had started out going down the order, but midway I got to where I was like, no, let's not do that. I'm not going to do that. It was taking a little longer than I liked. So what I have decided to do is just look at the picture and see the majority of what color that I'm dealing with, and I want to do the most, the symbol that has the most on there, and get that out of the way, and get those out of the way. And you can do the little small stuff once. What I mean small stuff is the stuff that the colors and the symbols that are not as many on there. They'll stick out better if you do the bigger batches first. I hope that makes sense. So that's what I am going to be doing from here on out. And there's something underneath my, oh, it's just on there. But anyways, I'm going to make sure that I can get in there for you as close as I can. And what I do is to be able to see on my, to see where I'm at, you'll see me point to a place. And so when I point, I'm putting it, I'm centering it where I need to. Okay? So what I am going to do is I'm looking at this little butterfly right here, and I can go even a little closer. See there? And see, I'm pointing, and that helps me to center it in my viewfinder, and then I know that you can see it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the pound symbol. I'm going to find it over here. And you can pretty much tell which ones it is. You can see which ones has a lot in them in this color area. You can just see just by this. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some out and get started. I'll talk for a little while. I've pretty much decided not to be breeding my Labradors anymore, and I'm finding a home for my female. My husband's wanting me to scale back on a lot of the things that I do because of health, and you know, when your back starts going, it's hard, you know, to you know, keep up with stuff that, you know. So thinking about getting into the fishies. That's one reason why I've got a an aquarium in here. I used to do the saltwater aquarium, and loved it, had it over 10 years, and had the original clownfish. Now one of them jumped out after several years, and that I was just heartbroken because they were a pair, so I had to get another one, and they paired up. But yeah, I had 2 of the original fish, 2 or 3 in there, and I loved it. It had corals and things like that. The kids loved it that would come over, and the grandchildren, when they were little you know, walking age, they were able to look at it. But then I got to where I was like, you know, not wanting to mess with it, didn't have much time, and you know, so this time I'm just doing fresh water And I'm going to have some little guppies. You heard it here first. Next week, I should be getting in the guppies I ordered. And I didn't go to PetSmart. I didn't go to Petco. I ordered them online from a guppy breeder. So that way I could get pretty strains and try to, oh, see now that pulled that out because that was a, I went to straighten this AB and it pulled that out. I want to go down in here to where you can see it a little even better. So yeah, it's right here. You can see where that pulled that out. Now let's see if I can get it off of there. Okay, good. It come off of there. Make sure that it's okay. And yeah, that pulled it out. So, got to put some more back in. Try not to adjust the AB drills while you have new it's not wanting to come off. I mean, come in, put back in. Come on. Please don't give me a hard time today. We want to get this done for the company and for everybody that's ready to see the end product. I got to be careful about touching those AB drills. Okay, so because they're right beside these symbols that I'm working on. And if I see something that's not straight, I try to fix it as I go. And you know how that goes. And hopefully this one will go a little bit better. I need to adjust my magnifying glass. It looks blurry. Okay, that's probably my problem. I can't see very well. So I hope that that first one is not so bad. It was late at night and I was trying to get it done. I had technical difficulties and having to wait on things to export, save, and all of that kind of thing. And I was determined to get that on there for everyone. Okay, now that is a AB, so I did not use my point, my tip. So oh, and that pulled that one out, and that was not an AB. Okay, so that lets me know I'm going to have to try to, I've got a diamond stuck in that. Huh, that's funny. I'm going to have to try to make this a little bit less sticky on my pants or clothing. You know how you can do that with tape. We learned that in art. If you don't have your artist tape, you know, that's, you know, like painter's tape, and you need to make regular tape not so sticky, you just stick it over and over on your clothes until it gets non-tacky enough to where it won't stay on whatever you're putting it on. So I'm going to try that, see if that will help. And I constantly have to check to make sure I am in view. Now another thing, whoops, now I'm adjusting a AB. It must have worked. I used my clothes to take some of that stickiness away. It's working so far. One thing is I have to use, I like to put the music on, and it's the royalty free from YouTube, and they have other sites where you can go get royalty free ones. and you know, you don't have a copyright problem. But let's see, right here. So I have to download that to find the music that will actually fit what you're doing, and it being fast forwarded and all. Sometimes I like to have the whimsical, sometimes I like to have certain sounds to get a mood going. Relaxing mood, I guess you'd say, or dynamic or whatever. But yeah, it takes a while to get these edited. I don't know if I'm gonna ever do a start to finish again for a company, because when I agreed to it, I didn't realize how many was coming in from other companies at the same time, and I want to give them the same amount of attention as ArtDot, and it's kind of taken away. I try to do 2 videos a week, so that way I have enough content. You know, I don't get enough, I can't order enough things to have content every day. You know, like some people, they just film their life or places they go, and you know, I can't, you know, I can do some of that, but I can't do it every day. You know, I'd go broke, I think. It'd be crazy trying to get a video up every day. I don't see how some of these people do it. But I guess, you know, they work at it just as hard as they do a regular job. And you can do that. You get up at a certain time and say, okay, between these hours, this is what I'm doing every day. And there we go. There's the I guess how they do it is just, they just work it like a regular job, you know. And some of the subject matter has a little bit more of a pull for the masses. Not everybody likes crafts or artwork, art. So, and you know, not everybody wants to just see the same thing over and over again, and that's why I kind of try to mix it up with some of our, here recently is the animals, I can't talk, animals, I'm sounding like my grandbabies, but, you know, stories, our family stories, I got to do another one of those. I'm trying to plan the one to go up and see the grave and the church and the house where Charles Silver was murdered. One of my relatives. I'm a 5th generation. My mom's 4th, and a lot of people are trying to get the killer off for it, acquitted for it, based on a newspaper lie that was published years after everything was said and done. And see, what people don't understand is they had to sell newspapers and their articles needed to sell newspapers, and up there in the mountains, gossip and notoriety, stories, haunting stories, things like that get told, and you know, stories made up. And that's what's happened here, is someone felt pity for the woman that got hung for killing her husband, which was my 5th great uncle or something, or no, grandfather. Because yeah, it's like my mama's 4th, let's see, papa, it was a third or 4th papa, to her grandfather. And he would come every year and talk to the family. To visit the family, and they would, now I've gotten that to where it's not as sticky and it's not picking up, but he would come and they would sit and talk. And why I'm talking about him is he's the stepbrother that was alive when Charlie was murdered. He was a teenager, a young teen, when Charlie was murdered by his wife. And he remembers exactly how it went. And he remembers exactly what was going on in that time. And not one mention of any abuse had ever happened. Not one mention in the trial, nothing. No defense for her case of why she murdered him. She never uttered a word. Her daddy, when she went to the gallows to be hung, her daddy yelled out, "Die with it in you, Frankie," when she opened her mouth to say her last words. And it sounds to me like the family helped her because she burnt his body in the fireplace. Oh, there it come out again. You see that? That is so funny. That is so funny. I don't know why it's... See, these are not ABs right here. And it shouldn't be telling me. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have problems with this again. Just have to fill this thing up and get it less tacky on my clothes. Alright, I want to make sure that I'm on camera. Let's see here. Where am I working at? I think I'm right here. Okay. You can see that. But yeah, it was a gruesome. She beheaded him. Cut his head off. And now he had spent the whole day chopping up firewood, a whole tree, for the week. It was Christmas week, and up there in those mountains they have Christmas. They get ready for Christmas back then, and get their chores done. Oops, there it went. They try to get their chores done for the whole week. Done, and that way they can just enjoy having that Christmas time off. So now I'm going to go, what is this on here? Oh, it's on the other side. Now I'm going to go right here and pull this back some more. So, and he had put it on the porch, and he was planning on a hunting trip too. I think his cousin or somebody, friend or whatever, they went hunting that week. They were planning on it, and he had chopped this wood and put it on the porch so she wouldn't have to go walking out in the snow far away from the house to get her wood. She would just have to open the door, carry in a few pieces off the pile right there on the porch, and be you know, look, I mean, that was a way of looking after her while he's hunting. So, you know, the truth of the matter was that she wanted to go west. Her family had family that had went west. The Stewart family was not well loved by the community. They were in trouble with the law often. They didn't have a really good reputation. That was her family. And then the Silver family, notice I didn't put an S on it. The Silver family was high regarded because they had, the matriarch had served in the Revolutionary War under General George Washington. So as a code, he could decode German messages that the British were using to do secret codes. They used the German language, and that the Charles' dad took over that role whenever his daddy got sick and was a little older, so he had to retire from that and go home, and Charles's daddy went and filled in that role. So the family was pension from that was given all that land up there where Kona is in North Carolina. So they were well respected. Charlie's dad was a reverend, a pastor. Charlie's dad was a pastor up there in Kona. And some of the others in the family they were Bible believers, loved the Lord. And no, Charlie would not have beat his wife or abused her because she had brothers, and these brothers were oftentimes in trouble with the law. Now this is all coming. How I know this is was the information that my mother got from Charles's stepbrother, who would visit the family every year. Now how much closer can you get to get the truth? Okay, I'm off somewhere else. Let me see. Make sure you can see this. Now, really, you couldn't get any closer to the truth than his stepbrother, who was alive, who helped try to find him when she lied and said he went on hunting. She didn't know why he hadn't come back, and at one point she said she didn't care if he ever come back, and the reason why she was so upset was because she kept begging him to leave with her and go west with her family, and he didn't want to leave his family there in Kona because of what a wonderful, heritage they had up there, and a prominence. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay. He had built the cabin for him and her, and the family had inherited that land. They were very proud of what they had accomplished, and honored their forefathers and heritage, their family heritage. And this is not picking up anymore. This is gonna be aggravating, having to fill this thing up all the time. Oh, and now look what I did. So they wanted to leave, and he didn't want to leave, and she couldn't. She wanted to go with him. Well, he's not going to leave his family, and she can't leave her child, and she can't get him to go. So what's left? What's left to do? Okay. So the only option she had was to have murdered him. And I don't believe she did it by herself. I believe her mama and her daddy and her brothers did it. Now listen, if he had been abusive, she would have said that it was a self-defense. Her lawyer would have said it was self-defense. They were not womanizers. Some people say, oh, they were just womanizers up there at that time. If they were, how come she was the first white woman to be hung, and I think only maybe only white woman to be hung. If they were womanizers up there, there would have been more hangings and things done to them. And it's just people trying to get her off of the charges. And she killed this guy, chopped him up, and fed him into the fireplace, which is still standing. From what I hear, it is still standing where the cabin was. And you can see it. That's what I'm trying to get scheduled to go up there and see it. But I haven't heard from anybody yet that I've been contacting. So I may, I don't know. I'll see. If not, we'll go up there and we'll just do the outside church, and may even go into Morganton and look at the exhibit they have there. That's where her trial was, in Morganton, and where she escaped at one point. You know, it's a major story, and should have a movie if they would do it right. But you know how Hollywood, you know, don't do things right anyway. They always fudge it. You know, they add to it. Oh, and I'm sure a lot of plays and things, it's caught on so much about the abused wife, and she was pitiful and done wrong, and he was cheating on her or whatever. But my daddy is related to the Stewarts, her family, and my mama is related to the victim. Isn't that funny? Well, all through my dad's life, and now he had the cousins, the Stewart girls over there. His mama, my grandmother, would get them to babysit him when they had to go somewhere, and they would babysit Dad and the other kids. Well, he said that they had a strange way, and everybody would say this, a very strange type of jealousy. It was weird, is what Mama said. It was just a very strange jealousy. I guess it's just somebody that's always thinking their spouse or whatever's cheating, or, you know, that type of jealousy. So, and he said they were always in trouble, getting in trouble with the law, and it was not, said that they were not all there, but that's just the ones that he knew, and what people were used to knowing about that family. I wouldn't say, you know, and so it's very interesting. Very interesting. She had hit him in 3 different areas, the parts that wouldn't burn. So they found the parts of him on different days, and that's why he has 3 different graves. They buried his parts in 3 different graves. And all. It's just really, really interesting. I've got a video where on the channel where I talked to my mom about it, about what her papa had come and told them every year. They talked about it, and he was there helping, trying to find his brother. At one point, they thought he slipped through the ice. She said he may have he may have fell in the river, or he's left her, or what. She would just tell all these different lies about where he was at, or what happened to him, maybe. And it was inconsistent. You know, usually if you have had to defend yourself, and it's caused something like that, where you've ended up having something happen, you know what I mean? Accidentally, you're trying to protect yourself, and most of the time you would run to you would run to get the sheriff or the police, or have somebody in the family, go to your family and have the police brought in to protect yourself, you know, so that way. And I'm sure some people have been scared to do that and would try to hide what they had done. And, you know, I know things like that do happen, and a lot of people were trying to say that's what happened. She was scared and wouldn't say. But, you know, when it went to the Supreme Court of North Carolina, her appeal, even her family did not go. Nobody in her family showed up in her support of the appeal of her sentence. And they didn't, the governor and the Supreme Court sided with the victim, and she went to the gallows. Her family tried to break her out, cut her hair, made her look like a man, and tried to say that, you know, she was a man. But there's the problem. When asked what the boy's name was, her uncle on the wagon said, her name's Tommy. Her name. Seriously, young'uns? And you wonder? Another thing is, and I keep trying to say this, and then I digress into something else. But her brothers would not have allowed her to be abused. Up in those old times, that ain't happening. Her brothers would have been all over Charles, and her daddy too. And then his own family would probably be on him too, because, you know, you don't treat women bad. His daddy's a preacher, remember? And I know sometimes that don't mean nothing. Some of them are just as corrupt as everybody else. But it says something for them. Character does do some little bit, even though it's not evidence in court. But they do allow some character witnesses in. So, I don't know. Some court cases, they argue about that. That's a bias. It bias the jury. But, anyways, she didn't get any bad treatment while in jail until she escaped. And so they chained her to the metal ring in the floor so she could not escape again. And see, she had sympathizers then. Somebody that worked at the courthouse left the keys for her family to break her out. So, yeah, that's where a lot of this supposed, oh, she was abused, you know, comes from, is these people that are trying to get her off for her crimes. The thing, I mean, if you have to defend yourself, the last thing you do is do what she did with the burning and the cutting up. You know, that was not good. And she used the wood that he had cut for her for that week, that he was so tired when he come in and fell asleep on the floor with the little, they had like a 2-year-old, I think it was a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. 2-year-old, I think. And she took the baby and did that to him while he was asleep. She burnt everything up. It took all that wood, some furniture. Let's see here. Where am I at? Right here. Some furniture and some of the doghouse, from what has been said about it. One point, the family was so worried and couldn't find him, and they were so upset that they were willing to try anything to find him. And someone had told them back back away, maybe in the next state, I think, that there was a seer, someone that could read, I think what they call it, a pendulum thingy. Okay, so, and even though they didn't believe in doing that stuff, they were so desperate to try to find their son. Don't know where he's went. No evidence, no trace. They went off to to find this person that could do that. And when they got there, that person wasn't there, but their son was. And the son said that he could read it. Well, unbeknownst to, they didn't have the phones like, yet at this time, I don't believe. And they did not know that they had found, back at the cabin, they had found evidence of where and what had happened to Charlie. But while they were there at this seer's house, the seer said that he was still in the house. Said that he is still in the house. And they said, how can that be? We've done looked and looked and looked. He is nowhere to be found. Well, they went home bewildered, and when they got there, they found out that there was a neighbor that was helping with investigations. And when they went into the house, they found out, I mean, it looked like it had been cleaned, but it wasn't really out of the ordinary, because they usually do all their cleaning chores the week before Christmas week, But they noticed that there was little white, fresh little chip marks off of the mantle, the fireplace mantle, and the walls, where you would cut off little, like, if something got on it, you could chip the wood and it would be off of there. So what she had done was, that was a blood splatter, and she had taken that off of there by chipping it away with a little hatchet. So they said, well, let's see if she's done anything in the fire. So they found, let's see here. They got the ashes out of the fire, and they put it in water, and it bubbled. So they knew that there was grease, excess amount of grease in the ashes of the fireplace. And where she had took the other ashes out, and you know, it was a lot, they found his heel iron from his boot, which it has a distinct little symbol that they knew it was Charlie if they had to track him in the woods. That's why the men would wear heel irons that was custom to themselves, and from what I hear is for tracking purposes, because they did a lot of hunting in them woods, easy to get lost. You know, so then when they noticed that there was something up about the floor and those little chips and stuff missing off the wood, they said, well, let's go under the house. Let's see if he's under the house. Well, they lifted the boards up, and there was a blood. It was a puddle, and they described it as big as a dog liver. So they knew pretty much what had happened to Charlie. They knew he had not went anywhere. He had not fell through the river like she said. He had not went on the hunting trip because the friend or the family member that was supposed to have received him and went hunting with him at his house, his place, he never showed up over there. And he's like, no, he hadn't been here. So that was a lie. So that was a lie she was caught in. She just had all these different reasons why he was gone. And so she said if they believe her, she can go west and take the baby with her. You know? That's out of no problem no more about moving. The one that didn't want to move was taken out of the way, and that's how it went down, and that's how the trial went. There was absolutely no defense given. Her lawyer wanted them to try to prove that she did it, and they had enough proof that she did it. It was their house, and she was there, and apparently nobody else was. So if her family helped her, that's why her daddy yelled out, "Die with it in you, Frankie," when she was about to say something just before she was hung. So that kind of, you know, makes me ponder the fact that I'm sure she probably did not do that all by herself. She's had help. She may have done the killing all to herself, or, you know, that type of thing. She may have done the deed all to herself, but her family may have helped to dispose. And at the very first, the mother and the brother was, one of her brothers was arrested with her. And they didn't have enough evidence to even, you know, to convict them, so they were let out. So I'm excited to go up there. The family house, the cabin that the matriarch that moved down to North Carolina, the son of the one that took over for his dad during the war. Let's see, make sure I get that in the right area. He's the one that come down, the son of the original Silver that come over on the Speedwell. The Speedwell was one of the ships that was supposed to sail with the Mayflower for that first trip over with the Pilgrims. But for some reason the crew did not want to go and faked a leak in that ship, and so it could not go with the, it had to stay behind from the, when the Mayflower set off to bring the Pilgrims here. And later on it was deemed that the ship was fine, that they had lied because they didn't want to do the treacherous journey. A lot of people died on those journeys over, and so they didn't want to go. So they lied about the ship. The crew did. Anyways, they recommissioned that ship to work again, and it later started bringing people over, and he was on it. The Hans Georg is what Mom says. His name is Hans Georg Silber, S-I-L-B as in boy, R, and it is a German Jewish surname. They were German Jews from Baden-Baden, or Baden-Baden, I think it's Baden-Baden, Germany. And it's a prominent Jewish community back then. And if they had stayed, his descendants would have been some of those rounded up to live in the ghetto Krakow in World War II. Because you can see a lot of the Silver surnames, different variations, Silverstein, Silber, this, that, and the other, you know, different variations on Schindler's List. When I went to research it to prove that he was German Jew, this is why they could read the German language. I researched that area, and then when I was looking at Schindler's List, because Oscar Schindler's factory was right beside the Krakow ghetto, and that he actually enlisted some of the people, the men that and women that was living in the ghetto to work in that factory. Oscar Schindler was wanting to make money off the war by making, the Germans wanted him to make pots and pans for the front and the army. And then it become let's see, ammunition. But he enlisted a lot. He asked a lot of them to come to work, and he got attached to them and saved a lot of them whenever Krakow was supposed to be emptied and sent to the Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen, you know. So this is why they could read that those German codes in the Revolutionary War for George Washington, and that's their legacy. And this is why Charles didn't want to leave Kona, what is now called Kona. So I've bored you long enough, I guess. And I'll leave it here to go straight into the speed part, the speed part of this right here. can see it. You see all that wonderful sparkle. I have completed the second middle section, the second section on this diamond painting, the middle section, and I probably went a little farther than I normally go, than I normally intended to go. So here, I'm going to show you. I have caught another cold. Can you believe this? I get like a week in between them. It gets so tiring to be sick all the time. It really is. It's just tiring to be sick all the time. This time it's this side of my nose. Last time it was that side of my nose. Hopefully this will be like a 3-4 day thing and be gone. You would think after having it, why am I hunched up? You would think that after having it 3 times now, this is the 3rd time, that my body would be like, hey, I remember this, let me fight it off real quick. Oh well, it is what it is. But anyways, here you go. Here is the, I'm going to hold it like this. You can see where I stopped, and you can see just how pretty this wonderful shimmer is on these diamonds. You see that shimmer? Oh my goodness. And look at the special drills down here, the ABs in that wonderful section of the blue. So the purple will be, let me pull this up so you can see it a little better. The purple is next. It shouldn't take me quite as long because I think I went a little further than I normally do, that I had intended on. But there you go. There's the second part, and I'm going to get this done, Lord willing, before the end of this month, August. I'm so disheveled. If you see, I have another aquarium right there. I've got this little one, which is cycling. I just put some stuff in there to make it cycle because the fish will be in this week. We're trying to hurry that cycling up and get it going good, so that way they'll be happy little fellers when we put them in there. Okay, and then this one is going to have another divider. I'm going to get another divider for this other side. It's going to be 3 sections, so because I've got certain fish coming that I just want certain ones in certain sections. It's all coming together. It's really great, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have gotten this done, y'all. ArtDot right there. See it? ArtDot. So we've got that much of it done. This will be my first one that is a full, this big, finished with you in mind, with you watching. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be done. I'll be happy to be done with this and move on to some other things, because I've got some seasonal stuff for my booth that I want to sell. So anyways, thank you for sticking right there through all of this. The part 4, this was part 3. Part 4 will be next. I'm hoping to get this up on Wednesday, because I already had one, had another video coming up tomorrow morning. So Wednesday morning I'm going to get this up, and that will give me time to get this last bit done and up on Friday or Thursday. Trying to get it done before the end of the month. So wish me luck. Pray hard, pray hard. Anyways, it shouldn't take as long. Thank you so much. And remember, Jesus loves you. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. God bless you, everybody. Bye.